You ever wake up, step outside with your coffee, and wonder if you've accidentally moved into some dystopian HOA-run sitcom? Because let me tell you, nothing says good morning quite like peeling a radioactive orange sticker off your car in your own driveway and reading the words, parking violation in all caps, like you've just trespassed on sacred ground. No joke, my coffee went cold while I tried to process whether I was still dreaming. Spoiler, I wasn't. If you live in a neighborhood with an HOA, you probably already feel my pain. Now, I'm not the loud type, not the guy bragging about his business at block parties. My wife and I, we just keep our heads down. We live in one of those tidy little townhouse complexes, the kind with picture-perfect lawns, identical mailboxes, and an HOA that treats community standards like a religion. You blink the wrong way at your curtains, they send you a warning. The trash can lingers 10 minutes too long on the curb, you get a note. And don't even think about planting a marigold if the rulebook says tulips. Honestly, it's a bit much, but hey, property values are solid, the commute works for both of us, so we go along to get along. Thing is, what my neighbors don't know, at least not until all hell broke loose, is that real estate is my business. I manage properties for a living, but I keep my own investments pretty quiet. Over the years, I've been snapping up rentals in our complex through this little LLC of mine. Sounds fancy, but it's just a shell Northwood Holdings managed by a third party. Keeps things anonymous, you know. The rentals do well, values go up, everyone's happy. At least that's what I thought. Then came the morning with the sticker. I'm standing there in my own driveway, mug in hand, staring at this sticker like maybe if I ignore it, it'll just fall off and disappear. No such luck. According to the fine print, there's now a premium parking permit system. The apron of the driveway, yes, the part attached to my own home, is now common area. They want $50 a day for me to park where I've parked for 3 years. $50 every day for my own driveway. You ever feel like you're being punked? I called the HOA office right away. First, I get put on hold long enough to rethink my life choices. Then finally, the president of the board picks up. This guy, let's call him the president, because he definitely thinks he's running his own little country, launches into this speech. No, hello, no, can I help you? Just straight into new rules apply to everyone, no exceptions. The apron's common area now. I try to explain my deed that the driveway's mine, but he cuts me off with some snide comment about maybe this community isn't for you if you can't afford the standards. Oh, and by the way, the fines will keep stacking until I show up at the next board meeting to appeal. Right there, I knew something stunk. When new fees appear out of nowhere, someone's cashing in. So I go to the next board meeting hoping for answers. If you've never seen an HOA board in action, picture a bunch of people in suits acting like they're running a Fortune 500, when really they're arguing about what shade of beige is appropriate for garage doors. The president sits at the head like a judge agenda on letterhead microphone and all, even though we're in a room the size of a middle school classroom. I stand up, try to keep it civil. Here's my deed, I've always parked here. What's the legal basis for this new fine? The board just looks at each other, then actually starts chuckling like I'm a kid, asking if Santa's real. The president, with that smirk that makes you want to throw a shoe, says the rules are clear. Our new parking consultant, and he says consultant like it's an FBI agent, determined aprons are HOA jurisdiction. And then the treasurer, his sidekick, pipes up, dropping hints about outside investors lowering community standards while staring me down. Which is funny, considering I've lived here longer than half of them. Now here's the twist. Nobody saw coming. This new parking enforcement consultant is the president's nephew, a kid in his 20s, cruising the neighborhood in a golf cart, slapping violation stickers and collecting a cut of the fines. Family business, you know. Pretty soon I'm getting fined for having a scratch on my bumper. Then for aesthetic violations because apparently my car is so hideous it offends the neighborhood. Next, they say my car can't be visible from the street, it has to live in my garage. The fines keep rolling in $50 a day, $350 a week, $1,400 a month. One day I come home and poof, my car's gone. Towed. Out of my own driveway. I have to cough up $200 just to get it back, and the tow guy waves a work order at me signed by, you guessed it, the president. But the best part, that night I get a letter in the mail all high and mighty basically saying I'm too dumb to understand contract law and should educate myself before challenging the board. They tack on over $2,000 in fines and warn they'll slap a lien on my house if I don't pay up in 30 days. That was it. I snapped. I spent the weekend digging through property records, cross-referencing rental caps matching tenant names. You know what I found? The president, the same guy threatening to take my home, was actually renting his house. From me. Through my LLC. His rent check comes straight to my company. Oh, it gets better. 2 other board members' tenants in my units, too. Turns out nearly half the rentals in the complex are mine. I almost laughed. Here they were gleefully collecting fines from the landlord paying their mortgage. Time to flip the script. I didn't call them. No. I had my attorney send a letter from Northwood Holdings legal counsel. Cold, formal, straight to the point. We're doing a portfolio-wide audit. We're reviewing leases for behavioral clauses. We may not renew leases for anyone harassing property owners. Oh, and by the way, if we do renew, rents going up 300% to cover the legal mess they've created. I sent it to every board member with delivery confirmation. 48 hours later, my phone lights up. First, the treasurer, suddenly all reasonable, wanting to talk things over. Then the president himself, 3 voicemails in one day, each one sounding a little more panicked. By the third, he finally realizes who I am. Did I call back? Of course not. I had my attorney send one more letter, terms non-negotiable. Full reversal and refund of all parking fees with interest. Fire the nephew. Public apology in the newsletter. 5-year freeze on HOA dues increases for all residents. The president begs to meet like neighbors. I tell him no, we do this in the boardroom. Court reporter present. Show up in a suit with my attorney and the reporter. He walks in looking like he hasn't slept in a week. The board cave signs everything. Every penny refunded, apology goes out, the nephew's fired. Next month, the president resigns for personal reasons. Rumor is he can't afford the rent now that I didn't renew his lease. The treasurer and another board member bail too. The new board, way more reasonable, actually focuses on real community issues. With the parking fine money, I throw a block party, burgers, hot dogs, drinks. Neighbors I've barely said hello to in years suddenly want to chat. The old board members. They cross the street to avoid me when I walk my dog. My wife thinks it's hilarious, keeps joking we should put up a sign. Management reserves the right to refuse service. Life here. Way better. Petty rules are gone. People relax. I still don't tell anyone I own half the rentals. It's none of their business, but I get the sense people know you shouldn't pick a legal fight with the quiet guy in the corner house. Funny thing is, now tenant satisfaction is way up. The new board, they run things like grown-ups, not like petty little tyrants. The old president, he's renting somewhere else now, probably telling people how he used to be in charge. And every morning I pull into my driveway, no stickers, no threats, just peace. Sometimes I catch myself smiling, thinking this is how a neighborhood's supposed to feel. I'll tell you, I learned a big lesson. Whenever someone in power starts inventing new fees or rules out of thin air, follow the money, ask who benefits. People get a little power and lose their minds, but real property rights. Those matter more than any clipboard or fake title. Turns out the strongest move is to keep your cool, know your rights, and use them. You'd be surprised how fast things change when the little guy actually owns the ground under everyone's feet. So let me ask you this. If you were in my shoes, would you have played it the same way or gone nuclear sooner? Ever had someone in authority try to push you around in your own home? I'd love to hear what you'd do or any stories where karma came back around. Let's get the debate going. Where's the line between rules and just plain abuse of power?